Okay. And hopefully it told you all, but we're going to be recording today's session, which is different from some of our regular peer gatherings because we want, for the people who aren't able to join this Q&A, we want to be able to share it with folks later who have questions and want to know more about showcases. So just a word of warning that most of this will be recorded. Again, welcome. My name is Ellen Stanley. I'm the conference director of FARM, and our conference is coming up October 23rd through the 26th in Lisle, Illinois. It will be our last year in Illinois before we move to Minneapolis, Minnesota, which is where I am based. And so we're going to give you some showcase updates in particular, but if you have questions about other things about the conference, we'll get to as many questions as we have time for. I'll let my friend and fellow organizer, Joy Zimmerman, introduce herself.
Hi, everybody. I'm Joy Zimmerman. If we haven't met, I'm a singer-songwriter from Kansas City. I am a board member of FARM. It's my second year of a third-year term, and it's my second year to coordinate the private showcases. I'm delighted to be with you all again and looking forward to being in Chicago again before we move to Minneapolis. And just want to give a huge shout out to Ellen for all her amazing work. She works so hard behind the scenes. So we're all super grateful for her and her spending time today with all of us. And our point is to kind of give you an overview, tell you what's new. And then again, as Ellen said, time for questions for sure.
Great. Well, we'll get going. And certainly as you have questions, throw them in the chat because even if we'll also open it up and people can raise their hand later. But certainly if things come up while we're talking, if we can address them for the whole group as we go, that's great. Quick overview. I mentioned the conference is October 23rd through the 26th. It's this year's event. You might have noticed the name changed. It's the Farm Gathering and Presenter Summit. And that is because this year we're going to have a whole set of programming designed specifically for concert presenters. So that would be venues, festivals, and house concerts, anyone who presents concerts. And so we're going to have Thursday there will be stuff that's starting earlier than we have in the past in the morning for them. And we'll have special programming for them. And then there will be programming all weekend long that anyone can attend, whether you're a presenter or not, that's designed around events and live events. So everything from contracts to ticketing to promotion to visas, all of that. So that's just an extra thing we're doing this year. So that's a little update on that. Other than that, it'll be a lot of things. If you've attended FARM before, there'll be all the things you expect. Workshops, a keynote talk from Nikki Mehta of the Wailing Jennies will be coming down from Winnipeg. We'll have the wisdom panel. We'll have another welcome farm barn dance like we did last year, which was so much fun with a live band. And there'll be more peer groups and conversations that way for affinity groups. And then we will have, of course, tons of performance opportunities. And there'll be a room open for song circles and jamming. There'll be open mics. And of course, a lot of showcase opportunities. So I will go over some of the different showcase opportunities we're offering. For the most part, it's a similar offerings that we've had in the past. It's mainly that some of the timing and how we'll book them is a little bit different. So that's the main thing we're going to be talking about. At FARM, and for some of you, this will be old news, but for some of you, it might be new. So we'll just go over a quick overview. So the official showcases are kind of the hallmark of the weekend. There are 14 official showcase slots, and they happen Friday and Saturday night of the conference. These are ones you have to apply for, and there's only 14 slots, so it's on the main stage, and nothing else is happening during that time. These are coveted spots, and we have a pool of judges that rates them. And but because there's only 14 slots, there are a lot of great artists who don't get those official showcase slots. So we have a lot of other opportunities to perform. But we do encourage you to apply. The deadline is June 2nd. And if you are planning on coming to the farm conference anyway, we highly encourage you to apply for an official showcase if you're a performer, because you will get a $25 discount to register for the conference, which is the same as what the application fee is. So really you have nothing to lose from applying if you're planning on attending the conference. And you'll need videos to do that. All the instructions are at farmfolk.org, and then you just go to there's a link for official showcases, and then we'll give you all the details you need. But basically, you need live performance videos, and they just fill out the form. So that's June 2nd is the deadline for official showcases. The other thing you should know about official showcases is we videotape everything that happens on the main stage. So the keynote speaker, the wisdom panel, any of our special events that happen on that main stage, including the official showcases. And something that's new this year is that we are offering free performance videos to everyone who showcases. So that's another big perk. In addition to being have a nice spotlight on your music, you also will get some nice professional videos that you can use to apply for a Folk Alliance International showcase or just have on your website. So it's that's really, really valuable as well. So we encourage you to apply for an official showcase if you're interested. One thing to know about with FARM is that you can only have 3 showcases per act. So, and when we say that, so every artist or band can only have a maximum of 3 showcases. Now, the question we often get is, you know, I play in another band, but then I also do solo stuff. As long as it's completely different material, like it's a different act. It can't just be like, oh, I have a guitar player joining me on this set. It has to be a really distinctly unique act to count separately. Like, oh, I have a Celtic band and then I do a solo singer-songwriter thing, you know, and the music's completely different. So that would be something to keep in mind. The 3 showcases can be any combination of like, I got an official showcase and then I'm going to do 2 private showcases, or you know, or just 3 private showcases. And we'll go over what these other showcases are, but I just want to make sure you know 3 max. Probably the biggest change this year about that is that the performance lane will be counted as one of those 3 showcases. And that's because we have so many performers that are looking for slots that we thought that performance lane should not be exempt. So that's something that's new this year. So keep that in mind. So performance lane, if you're wondering what that is, performance lane is something that happens on Friday and Saturday afternoon. Nothing else happens during those time slots. And these happen, there's, I think, 3 different rooms that we do this in, and they are from about an hour and a half long, and they all happen at the same time, and people kind of go between the 3 rooms to see people performing, and they're 10-minute unamplified spots. So you just go in, you do your like 2 songs, and you're out. But what's great is there's a great crowd for each one of these rooms. So, the process for applying for Performance Lane, if you have registered for the conference, you will have gotten a bounce back email that says, are you interested in Performance Lane? Click here. And then you fill out the form. And it's first come, first serve based on registration, and if giving preference to new people. So this is a great opportunity to get in front of people. And again, that will count as one of your showcases. We have the Folk DJ Showcase. So the Folk DJ Showcase happens on the main stage Thursday night. These are shorter they are amplified on the main stage like the officials, but they're shorter. And these are ones that folk DJs select an artist that they want to present, and they introduce the act, and then the artist plays. So it's another wonderful opportunity. This is something the DJs decide. And they usually do those picks after the official showcase artists are selected, because obviously if you have an official showcase, you can't also have a folk DJ showcase. Basically, you get one main stage performance opportunity if you're selected for one of those. And then we have private showcases. There's a lot to talk about with all of these different kinds of showcases, so we can dig a little deeper, but I just wanted to give a little overview. And Joy, did I leave anything out that's really pertinent for those showcases?
I don't think so.
Okay. So, and we'll go over some of the process of if dig into the meat a little bit if anyone has questions about any of these specific showcases. But for now, I'm going to pass it off to Joy because private showcases is probably where we get the most questions in general. And this year, the process will be a little bit different. So I'll turn this over to Joy again. Joy Zimmerman is our private showcase coordinator. Big job. And I'll let her take it from here.
All right. Yeah, it's a big job. And as you know, it's one of the most exciting parts of the conference. And I know that many of you are veterans and don't need basic information about them, but we're going to post this on YouTube for folks who are new as well. So thought we would just, go through some of the details. Thursday, Friday, Saturday nights from 10:30 to 2:30 in 10 and maybe 11 rooms. We're going to see if we can add another showcase room. Kind of depends on the capacity of the hotel. And as you know, the hosts have their free reign to decide what the format is for their room. We try to accommodate all the applications that we get for hosts and try to give everyone at least one night. Hopefully that can continue. And probably the biggest change this year for you all to know, besides the fact that Performance Lane, again, counts for one of your 3 showcase limit, is that you need to be registered before you apply to be a host, registered for the conference, or to book a showcase. And this is really going to help us keep track of people better. So you'll be registered and we'll know your exact name of your band or you as a solo person. And we'll be able to keep track of everyone's 3 showcases. So it's going to help us stay a lot more organized and streamlined for you. Also mention the first timers room as a showcase room that happens every year. And we're going to have that again, certainly this year. And that will count again for your 3 showcase limit. Wanted to mention that the host will pay $75 a night to host, and it's a big job, and we appreciate their work so much. They will begin, the applications will open for the hosts June 2nd, and so they will be announced. Another change is that we're not going to put it on the website this year. The names will be on the Whova app. Is that right, Ellen, just to make sure?
And it will be emailed to you directly.
Yes.
So if you are registered for the conference, which you'll need to be to book any private showcases, and this is not a new requirement. The only difference is the order in which it happens. In the past, you still have to be registered for the conference to participate, obviously, in a private showcase. But the main difference is you have to actually register first before you can, and then you'll get access to the list of the private showcase hosts. So what we'll be doing is we'll email it out through the, you'll get a direct email and it'll come through Whova, but it will just arrive in your inbox, and it will also be posted on the Whova app as well, which is, if you don't know, is our conference app. And this year our registration is through Whova as well. So it makes it streamlines everything so that we can send direct emails to all the registrants. So only people who are registered for the conference will get that list of the private showcase hosts. It won't be posted publicly anywhere.
Yeah, thank you. And then the deadline, and all of this is on the website, of course, but the deadline for the showcase host applications is July 1st. And we hope many of you will consider being a host. And then we announce those hosts on July 15th, and they can start booking then. So you as an artist, if you're an artist, can start soliciting at that time for your private showcase. And again, for you as an artist, if you are an artist, you will need to keep track of the 3 showcase limit and make sure that you are abiding by that. And then the hosts themselves will submit their final showcase lineup to us. And there seems, depending on certain factors, once in a while, someone will get ill or something will come up and they won't be able to come. So it's a little bit of a fluid process, but we hope by the end of August, we will have a general idea of the showcase list, of the lineup. trying to think if there are any things I wanted to mention. Oh, just as an artist, if you haven't done it before, probably some of the best practices. Ellen is a host, so she can weigh in on this too, but you will want to make sure that you pay attention to the focus of the showcase. Some are, traditional music. Some focus on, certain type of music, and make sure that you pay attention to that. Make sure that you, of course, fit that profile. Then you'll send your email to a potential host, and as an artist. And then if you have a live video, that's great. An EPK link, a short bio, and then expressing your intent and interest in their room. Anything else helpful, Ellen, on your end as a host when you're
No, I
evaluating?
think I think that's the main thing is to just pay attention to what those descriptions are. And when private showcase hosts, if you are interested in hosting a private showcase room and you haven't done that before, when you apply, there's an opportunity to write a description of the room, and and be as specific as you want. And if you don't want to have any restrictions, that's fine too. But you should say that in the description, because that will be how artists decide whether to reach out to you. And if you're like, well, I'm only showcasing instrumentalists or something, I don't know, then it will save everyone some time if you pay attention to those descriptions. So and that's kind of one of the goals. I see some folks are adding stuff in the chat, which is great. And a few folks have said something about various workshops they can do. I'm going to be, in a moment, I will also put this in the chat, a link for, you can always reach me, conference@farmfolk.org is my email. If you ever have suggestions for workshops or want to have an idea of something you want to present as a workshop, you can always reach out to me. There's also a form you can fill out for workshop ideas, and I'll try and get that link for you before the end of today. We'll also be in those email blasts that we send out. I don't think we've included it in one yet, but we will be soon. So, but you can also just email me anytime if you have suggestions on that. Right now I'm going to post, and if for anyone who's just joined us, I know people are continuing to join us again. This peer gathering for Farm today is focused on the conference, and in particular, the various showcase opportunities. Again, I'm the conference director, Ellen Stanley. Joy Zimmerman, the private showcase coordinator, is also joining us. And we are going to be answering some questions. One thing right now I wanted to share is I'm putting it in the chat. And this is, all of these deadlines are on our website, but they do live in different places. Like if you go to official showcases, it will show all the different timeline of when applications close and when we announce things and all that stuff. Private showcases, same thing, but this is kind of an integrated timeline of everything happening. So if you're curious, like, when am I going to know about an official showcase, so I know whether to book private showcases? So you can see all of that, and that I just put it in the chat. So feel free to copy and paste that if that's useful. So you will know whether you have an official showcase by, before the private showcase posts are announced. So that basically, if you're like, oh, I got a showcase, I only have 2 other slots to fill. And you'll also, you'll know that. And you will also know, and before, also Performance Lane will be notified before the private. So like you'll have a chance, you'll know whether you have an official and a Performance Lane when you're booking your private showcases is the idea. So you know how many you have to work with. So
2 other quick things, Ellen.
yeah.
2 other things. One is if you are new to hosting and are interested, you can certainly reach out to me. But if you're selected as a host, we will be offering an opportunity right after the selection time to join a Zoom, and we'll talk about, details, nitty-gritty of doing that. So there'll be a lot of help. You won't be, wandering in the dark on that. And also, Ellen, did we mention the open stage? Did we talk about that opportunity?
Only briefly. I said that there are some open mics, and yes, we have a couple open stages and some jam sessions throughout that are, aside from the ones that just spontaneous, there are also like structured ones where if you don't know people, you can like, oh, there's a song circle happening then, or old time jam or whatever. So that will be in the calendar as well. But yeah, I think we had 2 last year, and we'll have at least 2 this year, open stages as well. And those obviously don't count, but obviously preference for those are people who like didn't get, who have, I can't remember if it's like 1 or fewer showcases, is usually how it works. So, but again, if you're all here, you'll know what the skinny is, for booking showcases if you want them. And for, if you're wondering about hosting a private showcase, 2 other things we wanted to mention in case any of you are joining us who maybe haven't attended FARM, but maybe you've attended Vocal Alliance International or one of the other regional conferences. All of our quote unquote private showcases are not in hotel bedrooms. They are in conference rooms, just so you know. So they are, which is why we're limited to how many we can have. So the nice thing is there's more space. So even, you know, even a more lightly attended private showcase has more people in it than you would have in a packed hotel bedroom because there's just more space. So that's great. You're getting in front of more ears. And because we have the showcase limit, it not only means that you don't have to book as much, which sometimes is a relief for some artists, that there isn't that pressure. I have to book a whole bunch of slots to get noticed, but also it means that there are more people to see all the showcases. So not only presenters and DJs, but other fellow artists. So you get to go out and hear other people and make those peer connections, which I think are the biggest value of going to any of the Vocal Alliance conferences. Is as an artist, as someone who, I wear a lot of different hats. I'm also an artist, and I also present people. But when I'm going as an artist, I feel like the best connections I've made are really from fellow artists, and so getting to meet people and hear other people fosters more community, but also it just means there's more bodies, more people listening to different people's music. So that's a really great thing. And because we're in conference rooms, we're able to do that. And if you're interested and you're wondering who hosts these showcases, these private showcases, and we say private, but they're really, and private's a weird word to use because it's really, they're open to anyone at the conference. You know, there's nothing private about it. We have a schedule of where you can check out all the different people performing. But if you're wondering who hosts these, it's anyone. So it could be an artist who wants to curate their own room, and you know, wants to do that. It could be a booking agent who wants to both show off their clients and other people that they like. It could be a venue. It really could just be about anyone. So if that seems like something that would be fun for you, there is a fee for that. It's just a $75 fee for the room, and then you can set it up however you want. There's no amplification of the private showcase rooms, unless it's something that you need for your instrument to be heard. Like if you have a keyboard and you have a little tiny speaker, but it has to be at the same volume as an unamplified voice. Yeah, so that's a little bit more about that. If there's unless I left anything out, Joy, we could probably start taking questions. I know a few folks had raised their hand.
One more detail, Ellen, is that
Mhm.
some of the showcases are in the round and some are 10 minutes, some are 15, 20. It's just up to the host, again, when they curate their room.
And you'll know that when you get booked. I mean, some of the rooms might say, I know in my room, I've often done pairs of song swaps, but then also might do a round. So, but if a room only does like solos or only solo sets or only does rounds, hopefully they'll say that in the thing. But either way, you'll know when you're booked for that thing, or when you're talking with the host, they'll be specific. But obviously, whether it's a round or solo, it still counts as one of your showcases. Okay, so I guess we should get to some of these questions. I see Chris has your hand, Chris Farrell.
Yes, hello, thank you.
Hi.
Does the Folk DJ Showcase count as one of the 3?
Yes.
Okay, and when is that announced? I don't see that.
So, yeah, we will, because that will happen after. Basically, the process for that works is that after the official showcase artists are announced, which is, of course, I have to pull up that thing now. That's what, mid-July? Do I have that right? June. Here, I'm gonna have to look at the list too. There's
Yeah.
so much going on. Okay, so yes, so we will announce that the official artists on July 15th, and then after July 15th, then of course the private showcase hosts get announced so people can start booking stuff if they want. And the folk DJs, basically, they might already have someone in mind. Obviously, they get to pick whoever they want. So there's no, we usually have a form that's available for people, and that will be up. Actually, it'll be up probably before that point, but just to express interest and have some links. But really, folk DJs pick who they want. There's no, they just select who those people want, but they often do look at that list. And then the other thing they do, and this is another reason to apply for an official if you are on the fence, is that we send all the folk DJs links to all the applicants who did not get an official showcase. So often they're picking from that group, or looking at that list and looking at the videos and being like, oh, that artist is great. I want to showcase them. So that is usually the process. The deadline of when we would know, I'm not sure of that yet. I need to talk with Sue Kessel, who organizes that, but that's usually, it's definitely after that. But certainly, as soon as you know whether you got an official showcase, you can reach out to, and you can do it at any time. If there's a DJ that you know and is a fan of your music, you can reach out to them. The main thing with folk DJ showcase slots is that you can have never done folk DJ at FARM. So if a DJ has presented you before at FARM, at any FARM, previous FARM conference, then you are not eligible to be presented again as part of folk DJ.
Okay,
hopefully that answers your question.
Okay, thank you. Yes, but what I'm seeing is it looks like the possibility exists of an artist having 3 private showcases scheduled and then being selected for a folk DJ.
Yeah, they are happening around the same time. So, but that pretty much this happens all the time. This is not unusual. You will know about Performance Lane and officials right before the private showcases are announced. So you'll at least know, you're like, okay, I have a Performance Lane or I have an official. Now I have 2 more slots. But you're right. That is a possibility. And if that happens, then you can just choose which 3 you want to do, and you let the other hosts know.
No, I remember hosts were okay, like, well, can't do this, and I'm sure you can find somebody else for that. So, okay.
Yeah. But that's why there's long windows for this process, because there's a lot of juggling.
Yeah, everything else fits in. I just did not see.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Yeah, that's a good question. And if it happens that you have 3, again, that you've been, booked, and then you're chosen for a DJ showcase, most of the private showcase hosts will have a waiting list. And so that's,
they would probably welcome, like, oh, good, now got a little
it's
more
a good
room.
problem to have. And actually that's true with all of the slots. So like, if you decide you don't want your Performance Lane because you got a folk DJ slot instead, then there's always a long waiting list for that. So
I'm a big believer in good problems.
Exactly.
Okay, thank you very much.
Sure, no problem. Okay, Bart Moore, I see your hand up.
Yeah, so registration is open now. You can register now for the conference?
Yep. Yes.
Okay.
And super early bird rate, I should mention this. So this is the time both to register for the conference and apply for official showcases. So super early bird rate is going on right now. So it's the cheapest it will be. And that rate is good through May 31st. So this is the time to register for the conference. And then if you also are applying for an official showcase, you'll get $25 off that registration. So this is the cheapest it will be for this month. So you'll want to apply. And just a reminder that registration is refundable, fully refundable until October 1st. So again, you kind of, if you're, even if you think you're going to go, it's probably worth registering now, just because you get in on that cheap rate. And yeah, Patty asked.
You can get early bird rate and a $25 discount if you apply for the private. Oh, wow.
Yep.
Oh.
And also, I should mention there is also a Focal Alliance International discount. So if you're a member of Focal Alliance International, that's another discount. That's just an extra $20 off. And Focal Alliance International did send something to members with that code, but if you missed it, you can always email me. But it's also available when you log into your Focal Alliance International with all the discounts for all the different regional conferences. You can find it there as well. So, yeah. And I should say there's other discounted rates. So after May 31st, it will go up a little bit. And then it's the same rate up until like the fall. And then it goes up one more time. So again, the earlier you register, the cheaper it will be.
I got a question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And then I'll go to the other raised hands.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm
so
sorry.
ahead.
I don't know
That's
how to.
okay.
I know there's an app, but I can't find.
No worries. We'll get to all of them. Don't worry about it.
Okay. Thank you. My question is that in the submission tape, it said to make sure that if you are accompanied, if you're planning on being accompanied by someone in the showcase, to make sure that your tape has you performing with that person. And I'm wondering if that means all the songs or a couple minutes or whatever.
I think you just want it to be as representative of what you'll be doing at the conference as possible. I know you might not have exact video, but even if it's, for instance, the biggest thing that I know the judges pay attention to, and that's a consideration, is both the sound and size of the act. So like I think the biggest problem comes into it when someone applies with like a 7-piece band, and then later and they get accepted, and then they're like, oh, but we can only bring 2 of us.
Right.
That's like a totally different act than
Right.
maybe the 7-piece band with horns is, So I think the main thing is to have it reflect. And so even if it's like a different guitar player, but it's you and a guitar player,
Right.
I think that's probably the more important thing. And that the material is kind of similar to what you do. I think that's probably the most important is as trying to mirror what you would bring to the conference.
Okay, thank you. And I'm sorry to the rest of you. I don't know how to raise my hand.
That's okay. No problem. Thank you. David had his hands up, and I know you also put a question in the chat, which I can answer. I don't know if you had another question in addition to that, but why don't you unmute yourself and
Hi, Ellen. No, it was
Hi.
just that question. I was just wondering what is in place to enforce the free showcase
Yes.
rule.
That is a very good question. And this is the main reason why we are so excited to be doing this all on Whova, and why we have changed the order of how things happen is that, so because you have to be registered for the conference, that makes it easier. So, because one thing we also had to chase down was when we were putting together the private showcase schedule, we would discover that a host or an artist hadn't actually registered. They thought they had, and they're planning on coming, but they actually didn't register. So then we were putting stuff in the Whova app, putting the full schedule of the conference and the private showcase schedules, we'd find, oh, that person wasn't even registered. So the good news is now is that like we'll be able to see really quickly. We're like, oh, they're not even registered. But the other thing is you can search in the schedule very easily. So because everyone has to be registered on Whova, and we put them in the schedule, you can just easily do a search of a name. It pulls up all the performances that are in the schedule. We'll be able to quickly see that person has 4 showcases. So that's a nice, really easy way, because it used to be they were all living in different places all the time, and we had to, and the onus was just on the artist. Yes, David.
So my real question is right where you left off. Okay, so let's say you have discovered artist John Doe has 4 showcases. What happens? Because I'm asking because I saw this at a conference last year in which there were artists who had 7, 8, and 9 showcases. I brought it to the director's attention, and the director just looked at me and shrugged his shoulders and basically said, "No. What do you want me to do about it?"
No, and we have in the past tried to monitor that pretty well. It's just mainly sometimes we find it out too late. I think the biggest difference now is that we have a way of finding that right at the front end, which gives everyone more time to book someone else in that extra slot. So basically what the process would be is we just goes directly to the artist first. And then also, I guess it depends on the order of which it happened, but usually if we just discover, oh, this person has 4 things in their schedule, we would say, you have 4 things in your schedule, you'll have to give up one of the showcases. Please let us know which one, and talk with the host, and then we would confirm that that all happened, and we'd take it out of the schedule. And we'd wait for the host to give us their new, assuming this was a private showcase. If it was something that got added later, like say maybe it was a private showcase host gave us their schedule, before that August 26th deadline, and we see, oh, this artist was already booked for 2 artists. That might be one where we send it to the host itself and be like, this person actually already has 3, but basically we just would reach out to you directly. So, does that answer your question? Okay, I see the thumbs up. Okay, Michael. Hi, Michael. Cornfield.
Hi, how are you? Question I
Good.
had, in previous years, the private showcases have extended from 10:30 to 2:30. Is that the plan also for this year?
Yep, it's going to be
Okay.
the same as last year. So it's going to be as long of a window as seems doable and reasonable, and as late as anyone wants to stay up. I mean, there'll be people staying up past that for sure, but in terms of official things in the schedule, yes, 2:30
Okay.
a.m.
Thank you.
Julie.
Yeah, hi. I'm sorry, I got here a little late and I may have missed this, but is the performance lane registration or application open as soon as you register for the conference? So it like
Yes,
pops up as an option?
it was. Yeah, so basically when you registered, in your confirmation email, you will have gotten a link to it. If for some reason you missed it or anything like that, you can email me and I can send you that link. But yeah, and that was again another way to ensure. We started that last year, I think, as a way of also making it easy to be like, you can't register for Performance Lane until you've registered for the conference. Similar idea.
So
And it
it's not-
encourages it. So it's an order of and we can see
Yeah.
order of registration. So that's how it gets determined.
Okay, I haven't registered yet, but there are still slots available.
I cannot speak to that
Mhm.
because I haven't looked at the list, but I will just say you'll have more of a chance if you register earlier.
Yeah.
Also, again, we do give preference to people who have not attended before for Performance Lane. But again, I'd say the earlier you register, the better chance you'll have for everything and the cheaper rate. So.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Let's see. Anyone else have their hand up that I missed? Let's see if I'm looking the chat.
Patty had asked when the early bird rate ends, and that's May 31st, right?
Yep,
May
31st. And again, we did post that timeline, which I will share again just in case anyone came after we shared it. Anyone else have any questions about not just about showcases, but about the conference in general? No.
Ellen,
Wow.
yes, I do. I've been trying to raise my hand. They moved the button.
Oh.
It's not there anymore. Anyway,
Thank you for popping in.
I have a question that's in the chat, but I'll just say it. So I'm not an artist. Well, I am, but that's not my main role in all of this. I'm a venue. One of the reasons I'm coming to FARM this year is because we are making the effort to have presenters be part of explicitly, right? From my point of view, though, one of the reasons I want to come and I wanted to hear about the showcases is because I want to hear what the showcases are going to be. What should I expect from a showcase as a presenter? And vice versa, what is it that artists expect from venues? If you're up there playing, what do you want me to hear? What do you want me to know? What do you want me to take away? And how will I know how to work with you? Like, how much money do you want? But also, where do you work? That kind of thing. How do artists communicate and how do venues communicate through the showcase process?
That is a fantastic question. So to answer your first question about what to expect in the showcases, I'll give you just sort of the brief overview. Have you attended? I'm not sure if you've attended another focal lines. Okay. So basically, the way the conference, of course, has During the day, it has a lot of, workshops, and we'll have a whole track of workshops specifically for presenters. And on the Thursday, we'll actually be Thursday morning into early afternoon, we'll actually be programming that's only for presenters. So that's going to be for you to meet your peers and share information and best practices and all that stuff. So that'll be a really helpful way of getting to know other people and how they've, especially people who've maybe attended farm before, and they could be a little bit like a buddy as you go around the conference. And then there'll be workshops throughout the weekend, in addition, not just on presenter topics, but of course, all different things affecting people working in the music industry. So, but there will be things about contracts, visas, ticketing, also a lot of presenter focused workshops, as well as things like promotions and creativity and performance and all these other things. So there'll be a lot of different things you can take advantage there. There'll be a keynote address, some main stage panels. So that kind of all happens during the day. There's also going to be a folk DJ meet and greet where people can meet different DJs. And then in the evenings, and also community meals, I should just say, this is a great opportunity to talk about. I'm just going to do a little tangent for a second, and I promise I'll get back to the showcases, is if you've never attended Farm before, the location where we're at in Lisle, Illinois, just outside Chicago, although it's a populated area, our site, there aren't restaurants that are walkable from the hotel. They're not far if you have a car, but it does mean that if you are going out to get food, you kind of get taken away from the conference a little bit, which sometimes is nice. But so we do have a meal package, which especially if you're new, I actually really recommend it because it's a great way of meeting people. So you can also just buy single meals too. All that's in the registration if you haven't already checked that out. But the meals are very good. And last year, thanks to, I don't know if Dan's still on the call, he helped us a lot, make sure there was a lot of really great gluten and vegan options, gluten-free and vegan options. So the food is actually quite good for hotel food. In any event, so that's a great way of sort of meeting people as well. In the evenings is when and then for performances as a presenter, where you'll see music all weekend. So during from the kickoff with the barn dance with a live band, you'll see musicians then. And then Thursday night, there'll be that folk DJ showcase, which will be on the main stage. That will be like a performance setting. So it'll be amplified on a stage. And those will be performers that folk DJs have handpicked that they like, that they think people should know about. So you'll get to know a whole, I can't remember how many, I think it's about 10 different artists that are showcased for that. And then after that main, and then on Friday and Saturday, also in that early evening, same time block, there'll be official showcases. And those performances are a little bit longer, but similar idea though. It will be on the main stage with sound. So spotlighting some performers there, and those run from about 7:30 or 8 to about 10 o'clock. And then after that, the main stage stuff is done, that's when those private showcases happen. So those are the showcases that are happening in 10 different rooms. So you'll have 10 different rooms to walk around in and see different performers. Each room will have a different flavor. It's a great way of discovering artists. There'll be a schedule posted. So if there's an artist you liked that you want to hear again, you can it'll be really easy in the app. It's super easy. You can just do a search for that artist, or you met them in the hall and you want to hear what they sound like. It'll be really easy to do that. So that happens. Then also during the day, there's the open stages. They usually happen around noon. I think we did a noon on Friday and Saturday last year. There's also song circles, jams, which are great to participate in, but also great to hear people perform. In terms of answering your question, Gus, about how to work with them, each artist is going to be different. Some artists have agents, some are managers, some don't. But the nice thing about Farm is it's so small. There's last year we had 350 people. And the nice thing is everyone's staying there in the hotel. You get a lot of social opportunity. Although there's a lot going on, there's always time to talk with people in the hall. And if there's someone you like that you want to see, you'll be able to talk with them. And people are very welcoming and approachable. And if you don't know someone and you want an introduction, again, maybe one of your presenter buddies who you met on that Thursday morning can help you out. But we also have one-on-one mentoring sessions that people can sign up for if you are just looking to meet people and you don't really know where to start. That can be a great thing to do, because at least then you've made a connection with someone there too. But people are pretty friendly. So you'll have to take, also in the conference guide, we do make a printed program, but it's also all available digitally. As much info as people put in there for contact is in there. So that would mean presenters and artists. And if they have an agent, that would probably be listed as a contact. So you'll be able to contact people after the conference as well. Melissa, you've had your hand up for a while. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Gus, I just wanted to add that, like, people coming to the conference as artists are anybody who's interested in performing in the Midwest area. So they're supposed to be already interested in performing in the Midwest area. That's what the conference is about. Doesn't mean they will necessarily go anywhere and everywhere, but that's the focus. That's why we are a region. And it's not just people from the Midwest, it's anybody who's interested in playing in the Midwest. And then as far as like money and all that, that comes later. That comes in your conversations later about what people are willing to play for and how that all works. But you can literally, if you liked somebody during an official showcase, you can run out in the hallway afterwards and talk to them. They all want to get booked. They all want to have conversations. They all want to have networking. So they will have a card or an email or something. You can have breakfast with them the next day. You can, you'll figure it out. It'll be sort of an organic thing. Like I want to talk to you about the possibility of a booking kind of thing. So yeah.
It's about making the connections. That's right. Melissa, did you have any other questions, or
the thing I raised my hand about was before had to do with, I don't know. Okay, I want to be polite. Because I love you all and you all work very hard. There was a lot of discrepancy I noticed last year with timing of private showcases and the performance lane. People weren't sticking to the time thing like I'm used to, like I've had drilled in my head about, if your time is 10:10, that and your name is Aaron Smith, and if I go to this room at 10:10, I'm seeing Aaron Smith. I'm just wondering if there's a way to clean that up a little better. Some people did a great job, like Craig, if he's still around, Seamson did a great job in his room. So
yeah, no, thank you for those two comments. And actually, it's funny, we were earlier today, Joy Smitty and I were talking about that very, very topic, actually, both of those. I mean, they're kind of two different things. But one is about the sort of schedule itself, the private showcase schedule. And that's one of the main reasons we're doing this on Whova this year is, and even how we're going to be doing the programs and everything like that is going to be coming from this Whova schedule. So in the past, we've had lots of different elements, and then we've had to combine them all to make the printed program. And then we put them all in the app, whereas now it will all be put in the app, and then everything will come from that. So provided the information given to us is accurate. Now that's a big if, and that was one of the problems we encountered last year is there's one showcase host in particular that had like a lot of discrepancies, and we had to go a lot of back and forth of like, is this the correct time? Is this the right spelling of the band? And that's another reason why we're making people register in advance, is so there isn't that discrepancy of like, oh, the band has it has the in the title, or it doesn't, because then it doesn't show up. It shows up differently in the searches, right? So we want to make sure and because it comes from their registration, we'll know we have the right band name, because that's how the person entered it, not how the showcase host entered it. So that will hopefully help with both typos as well as scheduling errors. So we'll be able to catch that faster. And I can't promise we'll catch all of them, because that's just the nature of the beast, and there's always last minute changes. But again, we're trying to do as much as possible from the app, because that will have the most current live version all the time of everything that's happening. So
But also,
that
how
hopefully,
about helping the room monitors or whatever you call them keep
yes,
to the
that's it.
schedule?
Yeah. Well, yeah, the private showcase hosts, I mean, we can
That's their
definitely,
job.
yeah, that's their job. But that is something, Joy, maybe we can make note of when we will be doing a Zoom with the showcase hosts about best practices, and maybe we'll make sure to mention that in particular. In terms of the performance lane, I know, Joy, you experienced this a little bit last year, and have also hosted performance lane. And I think we were talking about just, again, giving a list of best practices and tips to the people who are running the rooms for performance lane to make sure they stay on schedule. Because you're right, it only takes one person going over when there's 10-minute slots to have it derail the whole schedule. Joy, did you have anything else you wanted to say about that?
No, I think that's a really good point, Melissa, and that we're making sure that if you come in that
We're
room
aware of
at
it.
4:15, that you can expect to see that person. So I think there's more ways that we can help those volunteers, figure out a system. I know Kristen, my buddy Kristen, we were working together. Somebody, held up Kristen watched the time and held up 2 fingers, or if there's other ways that we can figure out to help people. It's hard to cut people off, but that's the necessary thing in performance lane. But just along those lines, a shout out, if you haven't volunteered before, please consider it. It's really what helps the whole farm conference function so well. And it's a great way to network too, because you do meet a lot of people, and you're helping out a lot. And there's also a discount that's offered for a certain number of hours. So invite you to consider volunteering this year.
Yeah, agreed. And I see some questions in the comments, and I know Dan and Faith have had their hand up for a while, and I see they have a couple questions in here too, but I'm going to call on Dan and Faith.
And actually, I think Miguel's had his hand up a little bit longer. I have 2
Okay.
quick things.
Miguel,
number
you're
one,
next. You're on deck.
Yeah. Number one, a quick technical thing for those who haven't figured out where to raise your hand. At the bottom of the screen, there's a react button that's a heart-shaped thing. Click on that and it gives you the option. But other than that, comment toward Gus. As artists, if we have a venue come up to us and say, hey, heard you in this particular showcase, and either at the tail end of when we're playing or later, liked what I heard, I'd like to be in touch with some possibilities. I'm going to whip out a business card and hand it to you immediately and get your contact information. But if you don't find us for whatever reason, the Whova app has the contact information for all of the artists. And so if you end up, we cross like ships in the night, you can always, come find us, via the contact information in Whova. It's all there. It's wonderful.
Faith, that's very helpful, because one of the things I know from going to other kinds of conferences is the act of collecting business cards gets overwhelming sometimes. And so I want to make sure that I get them. However, just to put a little plug in, I don't have any reason to plug them other than I like it. I don't know if you can read this right correctly, but there's a thing called DOT, which is an electronic way of giving your information to someone else. It uses what's called NFC, near field communication. And it basically, if you set it up right and you register that DOT, it will put something onto somebody's iPhone or Android, I don't know, I imagine. And it will basically set it up, and then they can just say, oh, okay, and accept it. And then they've got all the information they need electronically. And you're not going for, where is that card, or what happened to the cards? I've lost the card, that kind of. So technology enters the world.
Yeah, and for those of us who are Luddites and don't remember to look at our iPhones for stuff like that afterwards, writing notes on the back of someone's business card is also useful.
And also, I saw along those lines of connecting with other people at the conference, Patty asked about the Dropbox again this year, and that will be there. So for those of you who don't know, there's an area. And if Gus, in particular for you, or other presenters out there, or DJs, or anyone who wants to collect music from artists, if in addition to just getting it directly from the artists at the conference, you can have a box set up where basically people can drop off CDs or one sheets or whatever.
That would be awesome, because I was having a conversation with my new friend Kat, And she was saying, well, let me send you a CD. And I'm like, I don't got a CD player anymore. It doesn't work in the world anymore.
Yeah.
How do I get an electronic version of you? That would be great, Ellen, because if I have a Dropbox and people can just put stuff in there, hot dog.
And you can specify what you want. So if you don't want CDs, you can say that. You can just say like one sheets or business cards or whatever. And then that way, that's all you get. The other thing that Patty also spotlights, so thank you, Patty, for putting this in the chat, but I wanted to highlight it, is there's also tables throughout the conference. We don't have the way the way Folk Alliance International has a big exhibit hall. We don't have that, but this is even cooler because it's open to everyone, is we have tables all along the main halls of where like the workshops are of the hotel that are open for anyone to put out stuff they want. So if you have music you want people to pick up for free, or business cards or anything like that, you can, or even stuff about a venue, you can, they're just open to be used. So that, which is really great. Miguel has had his hand up patiently. Thank you, Miguel. Sorry about that.
No, it's fine. Thanks. It's great to, Gus said something that triggered me, which is I wear two very distinct hats in both being a presenter and a performer. First performer, very active musician. I'm in Oak Park, Illinois, by the way. So, and I'm always playing. So, I have things I want to engage with FARM. I'm now a newly minted member of FAI. So it's new to me. I'll be a first timer this year at the conference. But on the other side, the other hat is presenter. And I have two, rather distinct roles in marketing and podcasting for the friendly music community right here on Roosevelt Road, but also the High Lonesome Music Festival, which is in the Missouri Ozarks. How do I make sure that I engage with FARM, setting these things up? Because I have two very distinct hats I'm wearing.
Well, the good news is you're not alone. Most people at FARM do wear multiple hats. Even though I'm the conference director, in my life, I wear even different hats at this conference, even though mainly I'm there as a conference director. I am also a DJ, so I often present an artist, part of the Folk DJ showcase. I'm a musician, so I perform too. The nice thing about FARM is that you have opportunities to be all those things. For instance, if you can go to a presenter workshop, one time and then perform at a private showcase. So you don't need to commit to one thing. In fact, when you register, if you haven't already, it actually asks for your different roles. So because we know that most people have multiple roles, like even people who might be full-time artists might still be like, oh, but I also do this. I write for this blog, and I might do other things. So you can outline all those roles, and really it's how you engage with the conference is how, and also your badge, by the way, will say what you put in that organization spot. So if you haven't already registered, think about that, because that will say that. So like I usually pick 3 of my hats to put underneath there, like 3 affiliations, like Mother Banjo, EFS Publicity, whatever. Like you can do that on your name tag, but also it's really how you engage with the conference that will determine what you get out of it. So if you're interested in performing and getting known that way, you can do that. And if you're also interested in finding people for your venue, you can do that as well. So I don't know if that answers your question. I know Tim also in the chat had asked about if you host a private showcase, can you perform in it as well? And you can. Just remember that you still have that 3 showcase limit. So if you have a room for one night, say you host a showcase room one night, and you could book yourself for 3 slots in that room, but that would be your 3 showcases. So, but many people will perform once, maybe if they're a performer, might perform in their own showcase room. That's not unusual, but you might get similar people. So I would recommend, if you want to get in front of the more people, that you only do 1 in your room and then do 2 others.
I think I've never gone to FARM, but I've gone to Surfa a number of times, and it seemed like that was a typical situation. In fact, it seemed like it was kind of an incentive to host.
It can be,
Can
but
be.
you will have to be. You also have to stay in that room the whole time, or
Yeah, yeah.
team up with someone who can
For,
maybe keep the
you
room.
got to be sure you're ready to stay up all night. You know.
Exactly. By the way, I just posted a link for anyone who's interested for the drop zone, which is also on our website if you go to the general conference page. But you can sign up for drop zone, Dropbox, whatever, drop zone box there. And Chris, see your hand up.
Yeah, thank you. Back to the subject of the schedules, and I'm talking about the readable schedules. It was, we had it in here, and then of course on the walls posted, and then there was on the Whova app. Now the Whova app, to my memory, was not using our clock language, which our language is that if you're a Friday at 1:30, well, we call that Friday night, but obviously that's actually Saturday morning. But the Whova app was calling those, it was just moving it into a different column or a section as for a Saturday event. And that's my memory of that. And so it did, present some potential confusion. I mean, we knew it, but I mean, I knew when I'm going to be there. So maybe that could be adjusted because we are using an unconventional language to call.
Exactly.
Musicians, musicians, we use that. Yes.
Yeah. I think
Friday night.
part of it is because Whova does everything in real time. So if
Exactly.
if one of the beautiful things about Whova, the app, is that if you can create your own schedule or star things you're interested in, it will send you reminders. So the beauty of that is that if you say, "Oh, I like that artist," I'm just going to, pick all their showcases, and so it will remind me at least that that's coming up. And so the nice thing is you'll get a little alert on your phone, like, "Oh, uh, Tim's playing right now. Tim Smith is playing. I'm going to go and check him out." But that one, it has to be in the real time for that to happen. So, but you're right. That is an interesting. We will keep that in mind and figure out the way. As long as it's consistent and people can find stuff, I think that's the most important thing. So, I appreciate that observation. Tim?
Hi. I was wondering if there would be a keyboard around. I'm probably going to be flying in. And I might know somebody in the Chicago area I can borrow a keyboard from, but I was just wondering if there might be one there.
We do not provide that, so that is something you will want to arrange for ahead of time. If you need suggestions on places either to rent one or whatever, but certainly if you have a friend or something, I'd recommend that.
I want before poking around, I wanted to ask.
Yeah, we don't offer backline for even for the officials. We don't offer that. But if there was something big you needed, you also might be able to go in with someone else if you needed to rent something or tag team it with someone else.
I would imagine a lot of people from the region are driving in, but it's actually more convenient for me to go to FARM this year because of where they located Surfa.
Yeah. But certainly that's another reason to get involved with that. Sign up early is to also, because you can connect with people directly through the Whova app once we've set that up.
Well, thanks for that.
Okay, sure. Dan and Faith, and then we might need to wrap things up. So, yeah.
I was just going to comment on the Whova app. Last year, the layout that was used by FARM was really good in terms of the showcases, having the people in underneath the showcases. This is in contrast, NERFA used it for the first time last year, and the way they laid it out was kind of messy. I'd encourage you to use something similar if you can to what you did last year in terms of how the show
where we specify each room and break out all the artists below it.
Yeah, because they tried to do it by each artist and then the rooms, and
it was impossible to find anything.
There was so much, and it was so spread out that it made the app really hard to use compared to the exact same app at FARM. So do what you did.
Okay. Okay, we will. And it's funny because last year was the first year for the private showcases that we actually put a separate event for each artist and didn't just copy and paste the list
Yep.
in the block for the private showcase room, which it took me, I'm not gonna lie, it took me about 4 hours to input all that data. But I think it was
Yeah,
worth it because it was much more usable, because I could do searches for artists and really know where they were playing and put them as its own
Exactly.
event in my calendar, as opposed to just, oh, I have to remember they're playing one time in this long block. So
And you could also see who they were playing with, which was useful. One of the things somebody else mentioned about Whova, all the apps that are being used by all the conferences have the problem of being oriented toward daytime conferences. And we musicians, our workday does not match the clock.
And until a musician comes through and creates a proper app for that, I think we're stuck with dealing with, Friday night into Saturday morning stuff.
yeah. Great. Does anyone have any last minute questions or comments they want to share? The time has gone by fast. I appreciate all of you joining us. It's been a nice, robust group. And are you guys all coming to Farm? Are you planning on being there?
Did you have a question?
Oh, we do. Go for it.
Patty, did you have a question?
Oh, I just wanted to say a huge thanks to Ellen, Joy, and Kristen for doing all this work to put this conference together. We really, really appreciate you.
Oh, thank you. Well, we appreciate this whole community so much. That's why we do it. Because it's all about the gathering in person, and well, online too. This is really great, but we can't wait to see your faces in person in October.
Absolutely.
Well, again, if you need to reach out to us for any reason, again, conference@farmfolk is my email. So feel free to reach out if you have any questions or problems. You can reach out to any of the board members, Joy and Kristen, or any of them. If there's anything else that you want to know about, and keep an eye on your inbox, because for all those things, you'll be getting updates.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, thank you all. Oh, and I should mention before we go, May 13th, I almost forgot, is the next, is our next virtual connections thing. And it's musicians to the front line. And I even have a link to it. There is an event on the Farm Folk page, but I'll put it in the chat too, in case you want to participate in that. And that's May 13th, Tuesday, May 13th, my birthday. Next virtual connections. And this will be a really good one, all about incorporating, it's with Reggie Harris and Sadie Gustafson-Zook. It's going to be, I'll give the brief descriptions. Folk musicians have long stood on the front lines of social change, using the power of music to inspire, uplift, and mobilize. Join us for a dynamic virtual panel featuring artists and change makers who are carrying that legacy forward. So it's going to be a really, really good one with great, great artists. So come if you can. And if not, we'll see you soon, hopefully. Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks, y'all.
Thanks for being here.